So, it is Tuesday. This beautiful, beautiful day. It's so nice outside. Like, it literally is very nice outside. Oh, yes, finally. I can do that. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at my... Okay, very cool. I will do that later. Okay, sorry, I was expecting an email and it came through, and so I'm very happy with that. So anyways, I wanted to start off by saying that yes, I am drinking my coffee, and it is the Cafe Bustelo. This is like when I'm not dealing with a new evolution, the Cafe Bustelo is a great little jumpstart. Not that I really need it because I'm always waking up to ideas and stuff. And I have whipped cream, the milk. And I will tell you, milk is what will keep you alive. Milk is what will keep you alive. You need the fatty acid, you need the amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. You need the fat. And humans who are wasting away, working themselves to death, playing themselves to death, under the influence to death, are malnourished. They don't have enough milk in their diet. They don't have enough. They're malnourished. They don't have enough nutrients. And so I learned from my husband, who is from this area, and he eats cereal. He drinks milk. And when we first got together, and then we started hanging out together, and when we bought a house together, and I see his habits, because I never really bought milk early on in our relationship. I started doing shopping, and he needed the milk. He would be drinking milk, buying cereal, and drinking the milk out of the cereal. And I'm like, gosh. Then I realized that's why he's so strong. That's why he has bones like a weapon. Like his knees are like a weapon, because they are so strong and dense with calcium, dense with all the different minerals that make up the bone. That it's because of the milk, the meat, the eggs. Not a big veggie dude, which makes sense. Here in Ohio, you have to be strong. If you're eating just vegetables, and that's it, you won't get the fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals. You will waste away to nothing. You will turn into a vegetable. When you're eating predominantly vegetables and carbs, you will turn into a vegetable. Mark my words, I've seen the vegans and vegetarians out there who subsist mostly, predominantly on vegetables. We'll have a hard time in climate change because the heat is so excessive, the cold is so excessive, the accelerated particles are so excessive that those vegetables and fruit and carbs will not be enough for them to withstand the climate change. And so milk is everything. But with all these intolerances, because people don't want to deal with symptoms, then they have their kids on plant-based milk, nut milk, soy milk. Yeah, you might get some proteins, but you're not getting the fat. See, that's the thing. That's what we learned early on in the J world, was how do we get our fat? I mean, we had to do a lot of evolution in the jelly juice world early on, because we were coming from the heels of the starvation holistic world, where food was poison. It didn't matter what it was. If you say one food, somebody's like, oh, I'm allergic. I can't eat this. I can't eat that. You couldn't say any food without somebody coming in and chiming in and saying they were allergic, or that it was poison to them, or it was genetically modified and it wasn't right. It wasn't pure, or whatever the hell their argument was. You could not mention a food in the jelly juice world early on without somebody saying that. Then I realized, yeah, humans have been starved from their powers. But there's a reason why, because humans also become so conditioned to make correlation equals causation, conditioned into politics, religion, and science dogmas, that they end up destroying themselves. Look at your family and friends. Look at how many people behind you have died from their belief systems. What do you mean you're supposed to die? Yeah, you have a belief system, you're supposed to die. There you go. That right there is proof. We have some people conditioned for a belief system. I don't care what it is, that they end up dying for their belief systems. But they maim themselves on the way out and then ask people, well, what should I do for this? What should I do for that? People who are dying in their world or who have been dead and they're taking information from a dead person. They're taking advice from dying people, asking them, how do you live in this society? How do you maintain? How do you move? And how do you be mobile with people who are on their way out the door? That's what's freaking crazy. That is what's freaking crazy. And so the conditioning of humans has been for so many years. I mean, we could argue 10,000, 6,000, 2,000, but when you think about, excuse me, I'm burping the whipped cream. When you think about how many times a person dies and reproduces, when you look at, just trace your family back, and you figure out the average life expectancy, when probably a person can get pregnant relative to that time, you do the math on how far back you can go, and just say the average lifespan is about maybe 30 or 40 years, assuming that person reproduces. You can go back 2,000 years. Now, you can go back 10,000 years, and then that's all theoretical, right? But you can take you yourself and figure out when your parents were born, when your grandparents were born, when your great-grandparents, when your great-great-great, and you keep going back and back and back and back and back and back. Then you see the conditioning process. And you can go as far back as 2,000 years. And the humans, like I said yesterday, the humans would still be the same. In different costumes, with different technology, but the same mentality. Conditioned for the environment. But who's conditioning them? Well, that's the thing. That's where you have to realize, you have to open up your mind, look at the Rosicrucians, and look at all the different religions that exist today and how they've been evolved. And then you see also what happened even even before I was born, 50 years ago. I'm not even 50, I'm 49. 50 years ago, when we think about it, is not that long ago. With how much evolution and change has happened in a span of 50 years, it's not very long. And so when you look back even the 1960s, and you see what was developed then and what came out of that, then you're like, shit, what kind of conditioning were people under in the 1960s, the 1940s, 1930s, 1920s, 1800s, 1700s, 1500s, 1400s, 12, 11, 10, 9. I mean, just keep going back. I mean, it took me, when I was studying all this, I really went back into history and I studied almost every aspect of history. And I did timelines. You saw everything on my wall. Remember when I had everything on my wall? I posted this, I posted that, did the Trinity of this, Trinity of that. I had all the gods of the Mesopotamia, or what was that? The Sumerian gods, Enki, Enlil, Una, whatever, all of those. Can I prove they existed? I mean, I can go look on internet and be like, okay, who are the Sumerian gods? Who are the allegorical gods of the time of Sumer? Okay, we can go back to the 6 cradles of civilization, go back to the cradle of humanity, cradle of humans. But I mean, at some point, we got to look at within the last at least 100 years, 50 years, and look at the conditioning and look at the evolution. Look at the brainwashing and look at the activism, which is basically brainwashing. I remember when I was studying for a test, studying for the insurance exams, my first time, like when I was studying for the math exams, like remedial math, I was in college, just doing the algebraic, like algebra 1. And I would have to really, because it was hard for me to do the step-by-step process. I had to really think in a different way. And so I would just sit and just study and do the problems over and over and over and over and over. So having to train my mind to do that and then pass the test, which is great, and then transferring that to the insurance exam. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to brainwash myself into memorizing every single thing in this test booklet. Like literally take a whole week and brainwash myself into insurance, which was property and casualty or life and health. And so before I took the test, I would take, the study books that my DM gave me, district manager. He said, take these practice tests and know every single concept in these questions and figure out the answers. And so how do you brainwash yourself? So you have to take like those questions, understand even the concept of the questions, Google all that, and then make a list and then figure out all the answers in the back of the book put them all down, and then memorize the questions and the answers. Memorize. Straight up fucking brainwashing. Memorize. And then be in that space of just every single day. You wake up, you do all this test, whatever, and you keep doing it until you get 100%. And then I would be so like in a different space, like so full of adrenaline. When I go take the state exam, I would be so like stressed out and all just amped up going to take the state exam. And I would be in that space, be like, okay, I recognize this, and do this. And it was just like, and I would pass the exams. That's short-term memory brainwashing, okay, for an exam that you will probably never have to use any of those questions or answers ever again, okay? And so that's a small, short-term brainwashing. But then there's a long-term brainwashing in people, and that's politics, religion, and science dogmas. That's where you develop validation for university degrees and for having children and for having animals, your little demons, which is great. Okay, here's the thing. I noticed that, with my dog, okay, she became she was a really cute little demon, like brought out the oxytocin in me, for many years. You saw me posting pictures of her all the time, like you see all your friends are doing, okay? And then she turned into, when she started deteriorating and trying to evolve to the next level, she turned into like a demon of a different demon, okay? And so why am I transitioning to that? Because God, I'm trying to find the connection here. Wow, I just went right from one subject to another as far as brainwashing. But yeah, the brainwashing of politics, religion, and science, and bringing out the demons in people and using that as a tool of control, whether it's your animal or whether it's a validation for your university education for your children, like little demons, bringing out whatever it is a person wants to be brought out in you. All of that can be working for you or against you. It's relative to how you deal with the demons in your society. And they could be your kids, they could be your animals, they could be your occupation, they could be your friends and family. I mean, demonology really isn't just like one way of belief. Not like, this person here is a demon and they look like the characteristics. No, demonology is based on how those demons make you react, how they steer your life, how they distract you from living. Demons is like taking away your life force. So demonology could be even your occupation that's taking away your life force if you don't figure out balance. And so the things that bring you out of balance, whatever it is, your family, your friends, politics, religion, science, where you are deteriorating and you're justifying death, whatever it is that you're believing in, that's the demons that are actually taking away your life force. So demons don't have to be an animal, just strictly an animal. It doesn't have to be just strictly your kid. But if your kid and your animal and your friends and family and your occupation and your politics, religion, and science are taking away your life force, that's the demonology. Because you can see people have their own characterization of demons. It looks like some horned creature that's sitting on a fence looking at you evilly. That's just an allegorical depiction to bring up hormones, to bring up disgust, to bring up fear. But in reality, the demons in your world are what is taken away from your life force. Okay? And so that's all brainwashing. That's all conditioning. And then you're going to see how that manifests, how science, how politics, religion, science, how the powers that be in our society that run our society use the hormones and the demons and the fears and the conditioning to then drive society in specific directions, and how they change society. See, everything that you know right now, everything that you know, that you've come to know and adopt and have been brainwashed in, was given to you by somebody else to control the way you think, the way you feel, the way you interact, the way you react. And so you have to realize that brainwashing isn't just going into the military and being brainwashed into doing basic training. Okay? Brainwashing isn't just, I don't know, a political ploy. I mean, it's in religion, it's in science, it's in families. It's in families where you brainwash someone against someone or brainwash someone for someone. But then you have to look at, okay, with brainwashing, are you allowed, see, when I was watching Messiah last night and how that extremist was brainwashed into destroying himself and a bunch of people around him. He was reading something that was different than what his leader was telling him to read. And so he said, he took away the book the kid wanted to read and gave him and made sure he only stayed in the brainwashing to go and destroy something else. And when he's not allowed to look at another thought process, that's a brainwashing to destroy, because then you're tunneled. See, Netflix is fucking amazing if you understand where Netflix is coming from, because that movie Messiah was like, holy shit, that's everything that's all over Facebook. You will see messiahs and gurus all over Facebook claiming to be the one to know the answer to everyone's problems. And they want to go and convert people and denigrate. And here I am, okay, I'm teetering on both those ends. I don't want to become anyone's messiah, guru, or religious figure. I don't claim to have the answer for all of you. I have the answer for myself. If you have the capability to do what I'm doing, great. You can find the power within you. It's not that difficult if you just give yourself the time. But the gurus and the messiahs out there and all the brainwashing of the positive religion and science is always saying that somebody else has the answer for you. Okay? And so as far as the activism and the brainwashing, I notice all the activists out there, and even my debunkers, even my, my trolls, when they're saying, well, Jillian doesn't allow anyone to say anything different on her Facebook. She is censoring everyone from speaking out, and she's censoring free speech on her Facebook or business account, whatever. And I've wrestled with that one. So then this is what I would do. I mean, I won't let people say too much stuff on my Facebook because it'd be just, straight up insult, right? So I go into their Facebook, into their debunking group and counter and face them and counter. And then you realize, okay, well, not realize, now you see all of the stuff that's written. Because I've gone on to my debunking page and tried to counter and tried to convince and convert, right? They're entrenched. They're not going to fucking move. They're already brainwashed against the salt, against Jilly Juice. They've already bought into the BuzzFeed article that I destroyed someone, not realizing that person was too far gone anyways. The wind could blow and they could have destroyed them. So I'm on there wasting their time. They're wasting my time. We're all wasting each other's time trying to convert each other when we have absolutely no fucking intent to change our belief system. So what was all that for? Okay? So when you look at an activist page where everyone is saying stuff, you have people that support, this activist, or they're like, oh, you're full of shit. Oh, you're stupid. Oh, you're this. And so they're like, oh yeah, here's free speech. Here's free speech. So you have these leaders who are like, okay, I'm not going to censor anything like Facebook does. Facebook censors. Jillian censors. This girl censors. That guy censors. Zuckerberg censors. But do you see anyone changing in those activist world? Do you see anyone even questioning their own fucking activism? So then you realize the for and against, the people that are not supporting that activist stance or people who are supporting the activist stance are both fans of that information, and nobody is changing. They're still stuck in their belief system. So you see how counterproductive activism is? Do you see how counterproductive trying to convert someone and trying to just to develop a discussion? The reason why you reacted to that person, because it challenged your very firmly held beliefs. That young lady yesterday who was a mom, and I was challenging mothers, the reason why she reacted because she held that firm belief that mothers are everything. They are the fucking essence of God. And I challenged that reality. And so she came on there going like, oh, this is what this is. No. Okay? So and so when you allow that kind of back and forth all the time, then it becomes the Tower of Babel. People don't want to change unless they absolutely find it necessary to change. And you can't convert somebody. That's why I don't allow people to come on my page and counter me, because what's the point? You come on there for the intent to convert me. See, what I've developed in my head and what I developed for myself so I can get it without crossing someone's boundaries. So I've done that. I've crossed boundaries where I've gone on someone else's page, they said something, and I'll go and counter it and feel like I have the place to do it because I'm the Jilly Juice girl, being all narcissistic and being all high and fucking mighty. That was wrong on my end to go on her page and counter her on her page. And then she's like trying to be nice, of course, because I'm on here being stupid. I'm being completely asinine. That's not my fucking place to go and counter what she says on her fucking page. That's like her house. It's like going to someone's house and telling them how to do the rules of their house. No, so what I do, I take whatever she says and put it on my world and modify it. I take memes from other people's pages that say something different and I modify it to my intention. If they happen to see it, okay, great. If they happen to don't, no big deal. It's not, I don't care if they convert or not. If they follow me and they see it and then they consider, okay, great. If they say, oh yeah, Jillian's stupid, whatever, then it's fine. She has a right to her beliefs, I have a right to mine, and we're all happy and no one's crossing boundaries and we still like each other. We find that common ground, whatever it is. That's how you can change people, is you give them the opportunity to do it themselves. But when you allow people to come in your world and counter you, even if you're like, oh yeah, it's all free speech, you're still going to react from that. That's the conditioning process, is that when someone wants to counter you, like when I go in and respond to my trolls on the email and they're saying stuff, and then I have to say something back, and then it becomes, we're both more entrenched in our own belief systems because no one is doing anything to consider, because, I mean, I have, but then I react to their information. I react to their angst and their, so that's why I don't read any messages. There's no reason to email me, though I have the email there. But I don't always read the emails. I don't always read the emails. Because I get publishers are like, oh yeah, I can make your life into a fucking movie. Here, contact me and you pay this much money and we'll have a Netflix documentary about it. I ain't going there. And so I don't even really need the email. If Dr. Phil or someone from CBS says, hey, okay, we'll do a whatever and we'll support you and all that, that's great. But I'm not going to go and play that game of, oh, I'm going to be an expose. I could give a shit. You save yourself or not. This is not for fame and fortune. Because I'm going to tell you, someone will spin it so hard against you and take your words and twist it if they really want to. And then what did you do? So now you got to let the word stand for itself, and you don't allow anyone to come into your world and try to counter you all the time, because then you'll get mired into that for and against. And then people don't change because you are giving them a reason not to, because you have countered them with the same energy that they've countered you. That's the thing about just walking away from the wars that are out there, because people don't change when they're in war. Now they're mired in the struggle. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. Let me tell you, getting mired into the struggle and then getting caught up in that causes people not to ever change, ever. Okay? And so the conditioning process is also being caught up in wars that are out there. The conditioning process is also being caught up in the wars that are out there. And so when you allow anyone to say anything on your wall, you don't stand for anything. Because when you look at my wall, my thought process that I have developed will continue to develop, and it will continue to evolve. When I get caught up in someone countering me, then it's gone. It's wasted time on their end and my end. Then you look at somebody else's wall who's so diverse with some of the people countering them. The thought processes haven't changed. And so having some individual people countering you on your page doesn't make sense. It's like the Tower of Babel. And then people who run that page become more entrenched in their belief systems because of so much of the counterattacks. Even the support. So then you can't tell between those who love you and hate you, because it's all support. Now you're just either entrenched in your beliefs and everyone's going back and forth saying shit and no one's changing. There's proof. Just go look on those activist pages. Go look. Let's say Luke Radowski, bless his heart. I met him over there at Infinite Man Summit. But go look at his page. He has people countering him, loving him, whatever. But he's still going to be right wing. He's still going to be in the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones world. Will he ever get out of that? Most likely not. That's where the money is. Hey, good for him. He found a way to make money in this world. Good for fucking him. Good for him. I'm not knocking him. If you found a niche, that's awesome. Go play it out to the fullest extent. Hopefully someday you will survive all this bullshit. And if he doesn't, then that's okay. People expect to die someday. It doesn't matter, what I think or whatever. But I want to show you as an example. Even some of the chemtrail activists that allow people to come in and say whatever. Have they even changed to question even their own belief system that they can survive the chemtrails without having to go into that? That's the thing. Even those who are against the GMO and the glyphosate and all those things, that are all like, oh my God, the pesticides and this and that. And they think that have they even changed at all, even question that? That's another thing. That's what I'm saying. You look at the activist pages and they haven't changed their mentality from even 12 years ago. It's still the same stuff. Repackaged, of course, right? And so that's what I'm saying is that when you get caught up in the for and against, you won't ever evolve because you'll be so entrenched in your belief system. You'll be so self-righteous. And then what is the proof? You dying. Well, you aren't expected to die even before all this stuff happened. Your grandparents died. Your parents died or are suffering a disease. So to say that what's going on right now is killing you, well, what was the issue before then that was killing people before you even got turned on to GMO and glyphosate and chemtrails and V's and all that? Oh, there was some other thing of the day that someone was blaming for death. When you expect to die, it doesn't matter what it is until you redirect and start questioning your own fucking belief system. So the thought process hasn't changed. So having some individual people counter you on your page doesn't make sense. It's like the Tower of Babel. And then people who run that page become more entrenched in their belief systems because of so much of the counterattacks, even the support. Then you don't know the difference between support and attack. It's all support and then no one changes, right? It's all fans. Your fans love you or hate you, but fans is fanatics. Fanatics doesn't say love or hate. It's both. And so when I look at my message requests, I'm like, oh, look, all the fans. I don't know who loves me. I don't even care. I don't even look for who loves me. Because let me tell you, even love, when people love you so much, they can destroy you with all their love. It's behavioral changes is what's going to make a difference, not the love or the support. I learned that too in the last 7 years. Because you can have a Judas in your circle of love. Jesus realized that. Just look at the activist pages of those who have both types of people, those who support them and those who hate them, and they allow them to post anything they want. They don't control their page to their belief system. Because both for and against are two sides of the same coin. Just like watching Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson both be ousted the same day. Come on now, that's not coincidence, but hey, oh God, that's organic. Come on, you guys, if you haven't figured out now, I don't know what it'll take. Okay, if you think it's all organic, oh yeah, Don Lemon was forced out. Bullshit. Oh yeah, Tucker Carlson left on his own accord. Bullshit. They both work for the same fucking team. Have you figured that out yet? Oh no, Fox News is so great. Oh no, CNN is so great. Yeah, they both are. They're telling you two sides of the same story. And they're both relevant. But remember, they're not that divided. They make you divided, but they're not. They're the same thing. They're like watching the chemtrail activists and the anti-government activists. It's the same shit. Because both for and against are two sides of the same coin. I want a picture of Carlson and Lemon hanging out together, drinking coffee together. That would be funny. That's why it doesn't make sense to go on someone else's page and try to convert them or counter them. It makes no sense to allow everyone to say whatever they want on your page with no regard. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And that is what goes on in the activist world. If you don't stand for something and you know how to articulate your belief system and then even question your own belief system, you will fall for whatever's out there. That's the lowest hanging fruit. That's the easiest. And that's most humans out there. They fall for the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest thing. Because it's very difficult to develop your own belief system and your own way of articulating. It's easy to parrot somebody else on such a level, even word for word. And you see that in the religious world. People are parroting certain things word for word. They don't miss a beat. I've done that. I've brainwashed myself into insurance. And I passed the test. Had I even did it twice over there in California. Took the test 3 times. I took the property and casualty, life and health, passed it the first time, and then I let my insurance license go, and then I redid it. The life and health, or no, just the property and casualty, passed that the first time. Then I came here to Ohio, played the game of property and casualty and life and health, passed that. It's not difficult to brainwash yourself. It's not difficult for somebody else to brainwash you. And that's how I looked at passing tests, as brainwashing. Living in the information. Breathing the information, shitting the information, absorbing the information as if it was me. That's brainwashing. So imagine that for a week, right? And I passed the test. Imagine people doing that for years, for generations. Then you see where the reality of this world that you live in, it's not what you think. And so a day is like 1,000 years. When you have so many cells that are dying and reproducing, like people, it's like one long string of amino acids or polypeptide chains. It goes on forever, but the space holding it is relatively the same. Because if the space is that different and so aggressive, those polypeptide chains and the amino acids would be all scattered in chaos. But the reason why there's a string of amino acids is because there's some kind of order with the external environment and the internal environment of those polypeptide chains and amino acids. And then they keep dying and reproducing, dying and reproducing. That's why that picture on my Facebook shows the different colors of the amino acids. That's all the evolution. And they keep dying and reproducing, dying and reproducing. And so you think of humanity as one long string of polypeptide chains of amino acids. Now you see what's going on here. You're all just clones of yourselves from fucking years and years ago. With beginning who knows when and where. All right? And so then you realize that if humans can keep cloning themselves and keep dying and reproducing, but when you reproduce, it's like one of you, and you're making now 50 versions of yourself. That can be crazy overpopulation. When you see Mormons or Catholics or anyone that believes in huge families, can you imagine if you have 100 people having at least like every generation or every offspring have like 10 kids? You could populate a town with one family or 2 families because they all have like maybe 10 kids, and then they procreate with each other. You see how exponential humans can reproduce. So that's why Universe 25, John Bumpus Calhoun, developed that utopian behavioral sync, showing a utopian rat society when you have 3,000 rats given everything they could ever want. And you see how fast, how exponential overpopulation is, how populations can exponentially accelerate, and then they start destroying each other. Because there's no struggle. There's no predator when you think about it. So you got to develop a predator on some level to make you survive, make you stronger, because when you have everything given to you, you become weak. That's why that post yesterday about mothers being the destruction to their families who give their kids everything are making their kids weak. Just like the end of each of those experiments that John Calhoun did, it ended up in extinction. So you think of a mother who's giving a kid everything they could possibly want, not giving any boundaries, not saying, okay, you got to suffer a little bit so you can strengthen yourself. That's like the same rat utopian society. The kid has no drive to do anything because something is done for them, and he ends up not only cannibalizing somebody else and destroying somebody else because he wants what he wants or she wants what she wants, doesn't care how she or he gets it. They end up extincting people around them as well as themselves. And then society has to deal with that. That's what's fucking crazy. That's why there is these great resets. We've had this happen before. I'm sure years and years ago, probably what happened with the giants. They were so exponential. They were cannibalizing all the humans. Maybe there was giants and humans were cohabitating together, which is why you see like big friendly giant, right? The BFG, the stories, Jack and the Beanstalk, Those are Gulliver's Travels. David and Goliath. The Bible stories. And the giants were just eating everything with absolutely no regard for life because he needed his needs met. Was it allegory? Was it a giant? Well, I'll tell you, you've seen even just within the last 200 years, pictures of giants from the 1800s. I mean, they weren't that giant, but maybe they were 10 feet tall, 11, 12 feet tall. I mean, you look at the basketball players, giants. And so I'm going to go to that page. The reason why I have a lot of people who are religious on my page that I keep around, because they open up my mind to so many things, to their thought process, to their belief systems. And let me tell you, the religious folk, those that are in the Yah world, Jehovah, Yah, the Hebrews, Yeshua people, all amazing people, because they make me think. They give me a glimpse of what goes on inside their brain and what kind of society they want to live in, the fears that they have. And they're realizing that a lot of the people's days are numbered, that yes, the society is challenging their beliefs, challenging even history. I mean, I'm challenging so many things. And so, but they understand also where I'm coming from. Some do. I mean, I do definitely, I don't say attack, but I definitely do question the inability to speak in a different way. I do question the tactics. And I also am trying to help those. I don't want to say I'm trying to save them, but I'm trying to give them another way to look at things so they can save themselves. And even if they still want to believe in their religion of Yeshua, Jehovah, Christianity, that's fine, but save yourself. But that means you'd have to kind of extricate yourself and not be doing all the remedies and the extracts and stay away from this food and that food. And if it goes against your religion, that's where I'm like, you know, that's where I'm like saying, you got to question a lot of things in your diet as far as the food supply and your religion, and even how often you hang out with people, because you have to figure out how to deal with your own predisposed issues. It can't be remedied away all the time. You have to face it. And so I'm telling you, I'm not trying to spiritually destroy anyone in their religion. I want you to question so you can save yourself. And then once you do save yourself, then realize that you can still believe in Yeshua and Jesus and whoever, Jehovah and all that, and still stay intact and give your kids something to strive for and develop and become strong. Because I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you want to give your power to somebody out there, but also recognize the power in yourself. That it isn't always that person's fault or that GMO's fault or that animal's fault or that it's not always somebody else's fault. It's not always somebody else that gives you life. You got to give yourself life. Maybe you work in partnership with someone from the past. That's within you, but you have to recognize the power within you. Okay? And so there's so many ways you can take this. And I've taken it to the extreme where I'm like, yeah, I don't believe in, I don't want to worship anyone from the past. Anyone that's dead. I don't want dead languages, dead ideologies, dead religions, dead this. Okay? So I'm taking it to the extreme. But the dead and the living do work together, obviously, because we have two different sides, as above, so below. And the frequencies are making those boundaries a bit thinner, to where I don't want to put a camera in my room to see what happens when I'm sleeping, because I know there's ghosts in my house. I hear stuff. I mean, okay, it could be a mouse, but we've seen the orbs that go in and out relative to frequency changes. Okay? So you can work in partnership with the dead, but is it be at the detriment of you? That's the thing. Are you going to allow the ancestors to destroy you? Or are you going to allow the ancestors to help you stay alive? Keep your family intact. Keep your religion intact. Keep your culture intact. And you still have tolerance to somebody else who thinks differently. So there's so many ways that we could take whatever I'm saying, but I'm going to go to the extreme to show you that, okay, you don't have to think this way, but then there is a happy medium somewhere, and you can still stay alive. death isn't always the answer to your religion, your politics, or your science dogmas. So I'm looking for that post. Oh, here we go. So I see that, so this is a post from someone in the Yahuwah world, okay? And we hear about, of course, the Flat Earth Society, okay? I'm not going to get into the whole Flat Earth. But this is how they posed, this is how he posed, or his religion, or whoever posed, the for and against. The flat earth with the dome versus the round earth. Okay, so you're seeing now the new religions that are being developed in our society, which is, the Flat Earth Society, and then all the other religions that glom onto that. But you see the flat earth, the dome, with one side being abundant resources, cyclical energy, no global warming, center of the universe, no aliens, no evolution, no Big Bang, free energy, equality for all, created by Yahuwah. Now, they erased something because something else was underneath that, and they overlaid that with by Yahuwah. So I don't know what was underneath that, but they evolved that meme. And so it said that flat earth versus a round earth of scarcity, limited energy, global warming, insignificant on a cosmic scale, aliens, evolution, Big Bang, theft and taxation, politics, we came from monkeys. Wow. Okay, now you can go to every single one of these and give your for and against. Every single one of these check marks, these little, I won't say check marks, these little, the constituents, the recipe to this belief system of for and against, all have their own for and against religion attached to it. Okay? So you're seeing the exponential religions. You have this one overall religion of flat earth versus round earth. Then you have all the subset religions of abundant resources versus scarcity, cyclical energy versus limited, no global warming versus global warming, center of the universe versus insignificant cosmics on a cosmic scale, no aliens versus aliens, no evolution versus evolution, no Big Bang versus Big Bang, free energy versus theft and taxation, equality for all versus politics, created by Yahuwah, we came from monkeys. Okay, that's just too, I mean, you can go to every single one of those and give an argument for and against, and would it make a difference? Because when you look at it, and you look at scarcity versus not scarcity, you can argue for and against it, but then when you think about it, does it really matter if you're for or against it? Because if there's going to be abundant resources or scarce resources, if there's abundant resources, then there's abundant people, and you have abundant people who need more resources, how much can you grow? How much can you feed? When you think about 100 people that are constantly reproducing, constantly, and then cannibalizing each other, attacking each other, competing and going to war with each other for the resources, it becomes then chaos. And then all out extinction, annihilation. And then someone's go evolve a belief system. They want to go outside of that specific community and develop their own community of a belief system. They don't like the rules over here. So there's 100 people in this little commune here, and they all are now fighting for resources, and they don't like how things are done, or they're questioning something, and some of them makes their own little colony. And then it's like reinventing the wheel. That's where then new religions, new politics, new scientific dogmas come from. It's reinventing the wheel. And so when you think about strengthening humans, strengthening yourselves, it is about scarcity. What are you going to do to strengthen yourself to survive? Okay, so that was the whole MK Ultra. So when you think about Charles Manson, okay, now we're going to the 1960s. Because I was listening, so I posted it, or I wrote about a little. I wrote a little bit about Charles, not too much. I mentioned Charles Manson in my book, and who was the other guy, the Unabomber, Kaczynski. And he was so pissed off at the scientists in the universities who completely just mind fucked him. to the point where he's out in the middle of nowhere sending off bombs to different places. Okay? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of MK Ultra, a lot of mind fucking going on. And again, when you have so many humans that are so chaotic and there's no order and they haven't really, and they struggled so much, and so it does something to them and it makes them just psycho. Or they don't struggle enough and then they want everything. They feel entitled and they go and take and steal because they feel entitled. It was given to them when they were a kid, so why shouldn't it be given to them when they're an adult? So there's those two extremes. You don't want people struggling so much where they become, deadly, and you want people not struggling enough where they become deadly. That's the double-edged sword of going too far to extremes. Having entitled children who think everything should be given to them, and having kids who had to struggle so much and had to survive so much that then they destroy themselves because they can't handle the trauma. And so there's got to be a middle ground somewhere. I don't know where that is, but we're watching it. So again, when you have two different people and they're both were given the same struggle to survive and they're living together, is the outcome always going to be one's going to win and one's going to lose? Well, it depends on what winning and losing is. It's just, okay, we're going to take two different people, give them the same, like, MK Ultra type of thing, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what they're going to develop their life into. That's pretty much the experimentation. That's the the Office of Strategic Services, the CIA, MK Ultra, then the scientists, academia, the colleges, all the biotech, strengthening proteins, strengthening humans, or weakening them relative to, to your lifestyle predisposition and all that stuff. Okay? And so you got to figure out, how do you strengthen a population so it doesn't turn into the outcome of behavioral sink? And so I wrote, dice have 6 sides. Most people will only understand one side of a 6-sided dice. If we were to compare people's realities in the world they live in, okay, that's the thing. If we were to compare people's realities in the world they live in, most people will only understand one side of a 6-sided dice. Just look at your friends and family, in their politics, in their religions, in their scientific dogmas. New information comes out, here's another side of the dice, and they don't want to look at it. I don't have a dice to show you. I used to play craps a lot when I was in Mississippi. Oh, I loved craps. It was such an adrenaline rushing game. I would play the pass line and behind the pass line. I used to play the field, which the odds were shittier, but it was the only thing I knew. But then I learned the pass line. Then I learned to play certain numbers. Okay? And then it became fun. Gambling, just roll the dice. But if you can't afford to gamble, then you will just stay in the most safest thing. Even if you lose, you'll stay in the most safest thing. I mean, if you can afford to gamble, yeah, you gamble. But some people just gamble things that are not going to help them. They gamble on only understanding one side of a 6-sided dice. Even if it means that they lose their life in the process. Once I got away from the field, playing the field in the dice game on the craps table, so many, more money was available to me when I played the pass line and behind the pass line. And so I parlayed $5 or $10 to 60 or 100. I mean, that's pretty good, but let me tell you, when you take a lot of money and do that, then it becomes really interesting. But you got to play to pay, or you pay to play, whatever it is. What is it? You play to win, right? If you don't play, then you don't win. But you have to have money to make money, or you can lose it all. And I don't believe it. I don't do gambling anymore. That was fun back in my 20s, my late 20s, early 30s. That was fun back then, but nope. I haven't been to a casino in probably a few years. I think the last time was when we were over here in Ohio, gone somewhere like West Virginia or something. Or when we were, as I went to Vegas back in 2011, around Thanksgiving after truck school. I had fun playing craps. But I haven't played craps, I haven't gambled like that in such a long time, because it's not worth it. Okay, so the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, because you know all the stuff from the 1960s, even 9/11 is coming out. It'll come out in very controlled ways. Okay, so the Truth and Reconciliation Committee that will inevitably come out will still only tell you just enough to satisfy your curiosity, make you feel vindicated, but there's a whole lot more. Just like these Netflix documentaries like Jimmy Savile and Epstein coming out about past things, they don't tell you everything, because if you actually knew, you could lose faith in everything you ever knew. And you don't really need to know everything. Again, it's not like the whole Podesta stuff and all that with the comet and the triangles and all those little symbols and all that shit. If it's not your kid, it's not you, don't worry about it. That's where you have to figure out how far you're going to take knowing everything about what goes on in our society and the underbelly. You don't want to be that traumatized. Okay? You don't want to traumatize your kids that way. You let them know there's evil forces out there. There are people who have issues with deficiencies, and they're desperate for money, and they will human traffic your child if need be, if you don't pay attention to your child and you. And so there, you got to know how evil things can be out there relative. Who cares, regardless if it's the government or if it's some dude down the street who has issues in his head, and your kid is like right now free for the taking because you're not watching them. Okay? So you don't need to know everything, but you need to know just enough to make you realize, holy shit, there's so much more to the society. It's not all unicorns and fucking rainbows. Okay? And so you have to understand that you got to realize that there's, even though they give you some snippets of what's going on, there's so much more that's even worse than you could ever imagine, but you don't need to know it because it would traumatize you. Just like what the Romans did to Jesus Christ. Traumatized populations. And they get re-traumatized every holiday. And so there's so much to this world, so much more than you'll ever know. And so I knew it. I mean, I watched this video. I knew. Even though in my book, I've kind of inferenced like, okay, I understand where Manson's coming from. I understand where Kaczynski is coming from. When someone mind fucks you for such a long time and they do so much horrible things to you, and they also give you so much knowledge, and you're given glimpses of what's going to happen in the future, because Charles Manson said there's going to be a big machine that's going to cause changes in our society. He already knew this shit. That's why he had such a following, because he knew some shit. He knew stuff. Okay. And when someone knows stuff and people don't know stuff, they'll come off as a crazy person. Just like when I'm like, I don't see why people should die someday. When I figured out, because I've been exposed to biotech, raised in a family of scientists, in Silicon Valley, the hub of engineering, and I'm like, why would you die someday? And people are like, oh, you're supposed to die someday. You come off like a fucking whack job. That was the intent. When you have someone like Charles Manson going through that kind of innovation, MK Ultra, in a society that was just introduced to drugs and sex and war, and he is just speaking so much stuff, like I do, like almost every day, but I'm not trying to destroy you or do anything like that to you. I'm just trying to have you save yourself. You'll come off like a fucking weirdo to people. People don't understand you. And so, yeah, he was a government asset. The war against the counterculture. When I was listening to that stuff, and I was listening to that video on YouTube, Tom O'Neill's, he was in an interview with some dude, and they were talking about his interview with Joe Rogan and bringing up key people of the past, Bobby Kennedy, JFK, and Nixon, and Vincent Bugliosi, and then all these different key players, Black Panthers, and then you're going into then stuff that went on in the 1960s, and you think of like all and Martin Luther King and all that, and you realize that there was so much more going on. All the conspiracy world. Okay, when that guy was saying in that video that, oh yeah, the Americans are paranoid, they're all into their conspiracies, and there's true conspiracies and there's false ones. There is no false ones. It's just how it's what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to even imagine could happen. Let me tell you, if you can imagine, it probably has happened. Just because someone says this is the conspiracy that's true, and then this isn't, doesn't mean that it is true or not true. It just means that they're only willing to have you believe this one conspiracy that came true, but we don't want to consider this other conspiracy theory. That's even the conspiracy world putting a kibosh on other conspiracies by saying, okay, we're only allowed you to believe in this conspiracy, but not this. Okay, so they have to realize that if you have the imagination to think it up, it probably has happened. Trust your fucking gut. Don't let somebody else tell you which conspiracy is true or not true, because it's not for them to decide. And you don't know who they are, what their intentions are, and maybe their imagination and their thought process can only go so far because they have inability to think even outside the box they were given in the conspiracy world. So that's the thing about allowing someone to control how far you can take any question, person, place, or thing. Okay? And so anyways, and so I was watching that video. And so the massive campaigns against a person, place, or thing, MK Ultra, and the drug revolution and the sex industry, used as a tool of control, not only shaped people and their offspring, but also the nation and the world. When the Manson cult was used to scare everyone away from picking up hippies, right, because that's the counterculture, the media campaigns against assault and water had the exact same effect. Look what BuzzFeed did to everybody. Look what Dr. Phil and his all questioning me and doing this and saying that I killed someone or hurt somebody. Look what it did to the people who followed him. They're so afraid of salt, they will not even put salt in their diet. They will be on low sodium diets. They won't be conditioned for this freaking climate change. They will have a lack of exposure really to highly ionic activity. And so their heart will beat out of their chest when the climates change. I feel my heart beat sometimes, and I'm conditioned for it because I've allowed the salt and the water, and then finally conditioning myself to the predisposed issues that I had that maybe cause heartbeats, cause high blood pressure. I would drink water and just deal with it. I wouldn't try to go remedy it away. But that's the campaigns. Charles Manson was like the BuzzFeed cult. See, when the BuzzFeed is accusing me of being a cult, they developed a cult following of anti-salt, anti-Jilly juice, anti-Jillian. So you see how even the media can be used to be developed like a Manson-like effect. And all the followers of BuzzFeed and Daily Mail and Newsweek, Pathos, and Dr. Phil, they turn into a cult following against the J world. And they're accusing me of being a cult when they are exacting the same thing that Charles Manson exacted on society. Made everyone afraid of the hippies, afraid of the counterculture, afraid of the Black Panthers. Now you see how shit gets twisted and turned around. And so you need salt, water, food, and milk, and sugar, and carbs, and gluten. And look at people out there who can't handle milk, can't handle meat, can't handle salt, water, food. They can't handle shit. They're eating fucking vegetables. That turns them into a vegetable. And so when you demonize symptoms and you make correlation equals causation, which is something that was pretty much too far gone, i.e. poor Bruce Wilmot, the BuzzFeed news story, that was exactly the intention. They used poor Bruce as a tool. But he will live forever through that story. The J world will keep Bruce alive forever. He's now immortalized. I actually immortalized Bruce Wilmot spiritually. So when you think about it, I actually saved him. Because that Wikipedia blurb about me will immortalize him and keep people afraid of salt and water and symptoms, which when you are depopulating a population, depopulating a human population from projected 12.9 billion to 500 million, that's exactly what the intention of that Wikipedia blurb about me and that BuzzFeed news article. It was to depopulate all of you who don't have the discernment to understand what's going on, who don't have that background of understanding what was going on even in the 1960s and 70s. I wasn't even born. I was born in 74 from another fucking country, but I came into the San Francisco Bay Area, the hub of it all. That's what's so freaking crazy. When you're in it, you don't see it, but when you try to run away from it, like I did many times, get the fuck away from California, kept coming back because I didn't know how to navigate the rest of the world until finally I figured out a way out of California, because California was going to kill me. Because it was so diverse, I couldn't get ahead. And I had my own predisposed issues to deal with. So you can develop a person to cause chaos. Now they would accuse me, Jillian caused chaos. She woke up people's demons. Well, when I woke up your demons, I developed a demon called the anti-salt world. Called the BuzzFeed, Newsweek, Daily Mail, Pathos, Dr. Phil. I developed so many fucking demons from that. I woke up the fucking demons. Absolutely, the J world did. And then it also caused me to evolve my situation and give you another side of another truth that you can consider or not. So you can develop a person, place, or thing to cause chaos, like Charles Manson and his cult of following people, and make everyone scared of hippies and counterculture, or i.e. salt water and fermentation. Humans, you are the gods. Ambrosia, the nectar of the gods, made of milk and fruit, cream. You are the powerful people, but the system of control took power away from you, because took away so much power from you because you actually did not know how to, you don't know your own power. When you can procreate so many children and program them to go and steal, to go and cause chaos, to go be smart, to go and proselytize your religion, brainwashing your children into whatever, that's power. That's unfettered power. When you can develop a religion just by simply saying, I'm going to change my belief system around this person. Not even change a belief system, but modify it. Take one word and develop a different context, and now you have a new religion. And then you saw what happened in the 1960s, all the cults. And then you see now, today, all over Facebook, the religious cults, the holistic cult, the guru, the yogis, the tantric sex cults, the I'm going to help you find a man or a woman cult. They're all over Facebook. You don't call them cults, you call them groups. It's that freaking easy to develop a group called cult, whatever. So I don't run a group. Yes, like I said yesterday, I want to correct what I said yesterday. I said I'm not part of a group. I'm part of so many different groups, but I'm not active, and I observe. But I am not actively trying to develop a group. The Jilly Juice world is it's another truth that you can try on, but it's not right for everybody. If you can understand it intellectually, then you have to see if you can deal with it physically and behaviorally. You may understand it intellectually, but not have the body or mind or spirit to deal. You may not have the body to deal with the Jilly Juice world, but you may understand it intellectually. And what happens, people understand it intellectually and they don't have the body for it, then they will find a way to say, okay, well, it's not going to work for me, and it's not right, it's not good, it's not this or not that. And then call me a fucking cult leader. And so humans, you are the gods. You are the powerful people. But the system of control took away so much of your power. But there's a reason why you need to understand. Humans can be so powerful and they could cause extinction to themselves and other people. Before you wield that kind of power, you must learn how to control it so you don't destroy yourself and your children and the world you live in. It's like Twilight, okay? And not allowing a child vampire to live in the world of the vampires because they don't have control over their hunger. They will destroy everything. How many of you have kids that run amok, that is so hard to control, that no matter how much you thrash them, they don't fucking learn? It makes them stronger. That's what it was with me. Every single time that I was punished for not abiding, it made me stronger, made me even more resistant and stronger. Okay, so was that really the intention, or was that the byproduct? You'll never fucking know. I will never know. Because there was so much human experimentation in the 1980s, and you saw some of them come out and be CNN news anchors, or they're working in their respective fields, or they're in the tech world, or they're like a Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos or any of those, they're the titans of their technological industry, or they're the FTX dude. So a lot of parents out there are trying to program their kids to be fucking amazing in academics and in innovation, and sometimes they go too far and the kid resists, and sometimes they'll fall through the cracks and get lost in the system and drugs and also in jail because they were part of like a gang or a culture or something like that that was causing crime. And so you'll never know really, what happened to them. And some will develop something cool and amazing, like the J world. And so you must be able to survive the climate change and control your power, humans. Before you have children, you need to learn how to control your own power within your body, or you and your child will be used as a tool of control, manipulation also as an example. Okay? And so that's why it's so important that even if you have kids already and your kids haven't figured out because you haven't figured out yet, here's the thing. It's better late than never. Better late than never that you discover your own power. Better late than never. Okay, even if you can't save your children from the system, that's okay. Because if you become an example of someone who is so strong that can release your demons and still stay alive without dying, your kids will have a chance. You don't even have to question your own religion. Just do things a little bit differently. Stay home more than not. Because you're going to have to deal with your stuff. You're going to have to lay down and go to sleep. You're going to have to say, okay, I can't go to this gathering of 1,000 people or 200 people. I can't go out every single weekend and pray to this thing or pray to that thing or go drink or do this or go to the mommy and me groups over here down the street every single weekend. And sometimes you have to stay home. The fact that I got this far is because I stayed home the last 2 years. I didn't go out all the time at all, hardly at all. I released a lot of people out of my world who are influencing me to party or to do this or to do that, or your social world is what distracts you from you taking care of you. Now I understand you have to work, and luckily I didn't have to work, but I did work in the beginning of the J world, right before the J juice was discovered. And then once I figured out, I found a way to, my husband, I had to really convince him. And we had to learn how to manage our money. But my husband has every capacity to make the money for our lifestyle and even cut back on his hours if he scales down his lifestyle. So he could still, if he wanted to, do what I'm doing and deal with the predisposed issues and taking a week off if he needs to deal with stuff. That's what it's going to take, is you taking time off. Scale down your lifestyle, your belief systems. I mean, you don't have to scale down your belief systems. You can believe whatever you want. You can believe in Yeshua, Jesus Christ, Satan, I don't care, whoever. But remember, the language, your longevity or shortevity is in the language that you speak. It's in the behaviors that you exhibit. It's what you say, it's what you believe, it's what you do. And so I'm hoping that you can still have your religion and your science dogmas and all your politics and still live indefinitely. I don't know. Because remember, death and destruction is written in the language of all politics, all religion, all scientific dogmas. It's in your social capital. It's in your friends, your family, associations. It's in your job. It's in everything out there that permeates our society. That's why it'll be difficult for some people to keep their belief systems and their lifestyles and still stay alive indefinitely, because they would have to change the way they do things. And they would have to answer the questions of their friends going like, why didn't you come out to our service the other day? Why didn't you come to my birthday party? Why didn't you come to my gathering? Why didn't you want to come to coffee with me? Why are you taking a break? Why are you sitting at home? Why are you watching Netflix? Why are you laying in bed? Why are you sick? Here, I have a remedy for you because you're sick. See, that's what people individually are up against, are the demons around them that will try to get them back out there again with all the remedies, the surgeries, the pills, powders, the extracts, the temptation of social gatherings, of excessive amounts of diverse food, yummy food, holidays. It's individually, it'll be very difficult for someone to extricate themselves out of that expectation, that jail of expectation. But I want to have hope that you can still keep your politics, your religion, and your science world and still live indefinitely and save yourself, save your religion, save your kids, but it may not actually be possible. But I'll leave it open as a possibility. You be the one to prove me wrong or right. Bye.